return on NFL Live. From Adam Schefter, ESPN sources, the Baltimore Ravens are hiring Bears offensive coordinator Declan Doyle as their OC. Doyle can leave because in Baltimore he'll have play calling responsibilities. But new Ravens head coach Jesse Minter now has someone to run Baltimore's offense. Interesting. We were waiting to see what move this would be, and this is it. Declan Doyle taking over. We saw certainly, you guys, what he was able to do with the Bears and Caleb Williams in that season last year. Marcus, what do you think of this hire for Lamar Jackson and company?
I love this hire. One, he's coming from who we regard as one of the top play callers in the league with his head coach, but also a team that's really committed to running the football. And you see the development of Caleb Williams under his tutelage as well. So you look at Lamar. Lamar already has all of these phenomenal characteristics as a quarterback, but there were times I think situational is what the Ravens needed to get better at offensively, like game by game, specific situational, the way that they wanted to call plays. It always seemed like when the firestorm come, now we'll hand the ball to Derrick Henry and we'll become a little bit more nuanced with our run game. So I look forward to seeing some of the creativity that we know is going to come over from what they were able to do in Chicago. I'm excited about it. And obviously it's something that Lamar Jackson either signed off on or had some conversation with based on how we heard this would go from Bisciotti and also how we heard Jesse Minter talk about putting Lamar in a position to be even better than what we've seen him be.
Yeah, share a lot of those sentiments. First of all, I had to get over the fact that I saw he's 29 years old, which makes me want to just like crawl into the ocean.
That's crazy, right?
How impossible. How are we so old, guys?
I'm sure he's very good, but that's just really young. Marcus, you made a really good point there. There's a lot of through lines between the Bears offense and what the Ravens do and what we think that they should do. Love the fact that he worked with tight ends. The Ravens are a very tight end centric offense, of course. The run game with Chicago, you saw a lot of similar creativity in terms of formation and personnel usage, motion to open up things. But the difference, of course, being now he gets the greatest asset to a run game anyone can have, and that's Lamar Jackson. So I'm excited to see that, the play action pass off of that. And this is an opportunity for like the quarterback and the play caller, who are pretty close in age, to grow together, right? Because I think Marcus is right. I think Lamar had a hand here. You got a defensive head coach. This isn't a guy coming, I mean, this is about as far off age-wise from Todd Monken as you can get. This is not a guy coming in and saying, Lamar Jackson, let me tell you how it is. This is an opportunity for the two of them to collaborate, and I think that could be really exciting.
Yeah, I think what's also really cool about Declan Doyle is he worked with Sean Payton. And for whatever you want to say about Sean Payton, he's been one of those offensive minds that has shown you evolution with the game. There's so many of these coaches who were great in the late 2000s or great during a decade ago, and they haven't evolved. They haven't figured out how to acclimate to the new athlete of this age. He's seen that firsthand with Sean Payton, and then obviously coaching with Ben Johnson as well. And you look at some of the quarterbacks that he's been around, some of the players that he's seen, Taysom Hill in New Orleans. You saw the same thing with Bo Nix, who was drafted late when he was with the Denver Broncos, and then obviously last year with Caleb. So the run game is largely important, but understanding how to use a quarterback that can utilize his legs and the ways that that helps you to get them easy throws, easy completions, and there have to be some drive for the Baltimore Ravens where Lamar Jackson doesn't have to do much, and he doesn't have to carry the load all the time.
Yeah, it's a good point. The Bears were one of 5 offenses this season that ranked top 10 in pass yards and rush yards per game. Obviously, Ben Johnson and his run game had a big piece in that, but Declan Doyle's certainly a part of it. Also, just to confirm, we kind of just said it, but Lamar Jackson and Declan Doyle are the exact same age at 29 years old, which has now successfully made all of us feel like real old farts.
They walk in the room like, what's happening, Woody?
Hey.
What's
What up, Dad? What up, Dad?
Good old Dad. Hey, maybe that's what solidified the deal. They said, hey, you 29? Yeah, I'm 29 too. All right, let's make this happen. Coming up.
Let's get to it.
Oh, my goodness.
So keep spinning. We got the Browns, who have found their guy in Todd Monken. Him and Shedeur Sanders already look like they're the duo Cleveland needs. Monken comes to the Browns after serving as Lamar Jackson's OC in Baltimore. This will actually be his first head coach stint. And earlier today, the Browns released some footage of Monken and Shedeur meeting for the very first time.
What going in at? Oh, yeah.
Hey, hello, young man. What's up? Good to see you. How you doing? Welcome back to the States. How we doing, man? Good. Yeah, we tried to draft your ass last year. It's all worked out. Yeah. That's you remember that, right? Yeah, that's what I was about to tell you. Someday we'll get a chance to talk about that. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Sit down.
I mean, I got to say, that seems like a pretty solid first meeting with your new boss, if you ask me. For much more on this, let's go ahead and welcome in Jonathan Jones. JJ, so great to see you. So Todd Monken pulling Shedeur Sanders for a chat. What do you think went on in that conversation?
Yeah, that was fun, right? I assume Todd had sort of been preparing for that moment these last few days, ever since he knew that he would be the Cleveland Browns head coach. He knows he's going to be the Browns head coach. He knows he's going to coach Shedeur Sanders. He believes that Shedeur Sanders is going to be the anticipated Week 1 starter for the Cleveland Browns. That's the hope there of Andrew Berry, the general manager. They got about a half season's worth of looks at Shedeur Sanders. More bad than good, no question about it, but the Browns are excited to see what they can get out of Shedeur Sanders with a full offseason of work. Him knowing that he's going to be the number 1 quarterback, all the number 1 reps, right? We talked so much just a few months ago about how he was number 4, and then number 3, then number 2, and then goes into the game without first-team reps. And so now that is obviously going to be different. So Todd Monken taking this Cleveland Browns job, understanding that there is a very real possibility, if not probability, that Week 1 of the 2026 season, he's going out there with Shedeur Sanders as his quarterback. Who's going to be the offensive lineman? Who will be his defensive coordinator? Nobody really knows that, right? What are they going to do with their 2 first-round picks in April? Don't know that. But as far as the quarterback goes, it certainly appears like it will be Todd Monken with Shedeur Sanders to start the season.
All right, so sounds like Shedeur will be the guy in Cleveland, at least to start. Elsewhere, though, JJ, is it safe to predict that J.J. McCarthy is the guy in Minnesota next season? How does really the firing of the news of their general manager, Kwesi Adolphus-Mensah, really impact Kevin O'Connell's decision on who will be the quarterback next year and really the years to come?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see with the Minnesota Vikings. Obviously, this was a collective decision with the Vikings to A, draft J.J. McCarthy, then of course he gets injured. That is then B, a collective decision by the Minnesota Vikings to not move forward with Sam Darnold and move forward with J.J. McCarthy. And clearly that has not worked out so far. So will a new general manager, and look, Kevin O'Connell is staying, the front office is staying, that much has been clear. They're going with an interim general manager through the draft, Rob Brzezinski, and then we will see what happens after the draft when they run, or are expected to run, a thorough search. Will it be J.J. McCarthy in 2026? Like, what I can tell you is there is no question they want to get some legitimate competition in there for him. Does that mean that he's going to the bench? Does that mean that he can't earn the job? Look, they still invested a top 10 pick in J.J. McCarthy, so they want it to work out, and I don't know really if he would ever go on the trading block anytime soon, what they could get for him. So fully anticipate that he's going to be there. Let's be clear about that, even though there's been a general manager change. But who is going to come in at quarterback to compete with him? Not that great of a free agency class or draft class. The Vikings are certainly going to have to get a little creative here over these next few months.
All right, so we'll look forward to that waiting game. Speaking of waiting, 2 fan bases right now continue to wait for their next head coach. That's the Cardinals and Raiders, still looking for their guy. What's the latest on their searches, JJ?
So both teams waiting for Clint Kubiak, the offensive coordinator of the Seattle Seahawks. He's scheduled to interview with both teams on Saturday. Of course, this has been a very busy, very hectic week for Clint Kubiak. One could argue the most important week of his life. Game planning for Super Bowl 60. So he wasn't having any distractions. He wasn't talking with Arizona, wasn't talking with the Las Vegas Raiders this week. He was so focused on getting this game plan together, because once you get out to the Bay Area, you're just fine-tuning. You're just tweaking things, right? So as it relates to the Raiders, they are considered the favorites to land Clint Kubiak. And of course, they have the number 1 overall pick. They have Fernando Mendoza, we all anticipate. Davis Webb, the Broncos pass game coordinator, who was considered a top candidate for that job, pulled out of the running for that job. Indicates he knows something. Indicates he knows that he's not going to get that job. Well, what are the Raiders waiting for? It is to interview Clint Kubiak. So that should happen in person, a second interview on Saturday. Meanwhile, the Arizona Cardinals, again, not thought to be the favorites to land him. Could things change over the course of 2 in-person interviews on Saturday? Of course they could. But if they do not land Clint Kubiak, look for Mike LaFleur, the offensive coordinator of the LA Rams, to likely land that Arizona Cardinals job. Who's going to be his quarterback? Nobody knows. It very well could be Kyler Murray, but that's where we stand right now as Clint Kubiak, the top guy, has one more interview with each of these teams.
A busy man this month at Clint Kubiak, that's for sure. Next year, it's crazy. We will see 10 teams with brand new head coaches. The Raiders Cardinals will finish out that crazy and very chaotic coaching carousel. That's a mouthful. JJ, we are counting down the days until Super Bowl 60, and this is really the time to reflect on the year and the season and see where changes could be made. A massive change we're hearing could be coming to penalties. What is the league discussing right now?
Yeah, so it's interesting. Okay, the league has never wanted to throw flags from upstairs or throw flags from New York. They want the game to be officiated by the officials on the football field. Sounds great, right? Well, what happens when an official misses a face mask, a very obvious face mask? Well, you can't throw the penalty flag for that, right? How about all those hip drop tackles that get fined after the fact, but referees don't call the play on the field? Well, the NFL, for the first time ever, is going to discuss this offseason potentially putting flags on the field after video replay review. It's a big deal, right? Because you are involving officials who are not on the football field. You are probably, almost certainly, introducing more flags. Now, for the last year or so, officials have been able to pick up flags that they threw upon video replay assist showing that that shouldn't have been thrown. But to add a flag to the mix, well, that's different. Now, it's only going to be for player safety, right? So again, hip drop tackle, unnecessary roughness, roughing the passer, face mask. And again, there has to be a lot of discussion. The NFL Competition Committee has to okay it. And then 3/4 of NFL team owners have to okay it by the time we get to late March at the annual meeting. So still a long way to go. Still plenty of discussions to be had, but a very interesting, potentially new, brave world, if you will, in the NFL.
Very brave world. That's a great way to put it. Lastly, JJ, Drake May did not practice today while he battles an illness. We're hearing a shoulder injury as well. We're 9 days out. As I mentioned, should Patriot fans be panicking at this point?
I'd maybe panic a little bit if the game were on Sunday. This dude's not missing the game. Everybody's banged up right now, right? He has 2 weeks to rest and recover. I don't frankly care about him not throwing as media is present at practice 9, 10, 11 days before Super Bowl. It's all about protecting him, right? And Mike Vrabel spoke today about the illness that Drake May has, and he's saying, look, we don't need him here getting everybody else sick, so let's just chill out a little bit. Look, I'm not concerned. Folks that I talk to are not concerned. Is the shoulder bothering him? Yeah, sure. But again, everyone is banged up. The Patriots certainly believe and hope that over the next week plus, he'll be just fine to play, to start, to complete Super Bowl 60. And they, of course, hope that shoulder will be good enough to hoist the Lombardi at the end of it.
All right, Patriots fans, hearing you loud and clear. Do not panic. Don't sweat it just yet. 9 days, it's like an eternity, right? JJ, always great